I said yes again every time someone asks me, and I can't say no. It's so difficult and scary to say no. But why? Maybe you have felt this. At first, saying yes seems easier, but over time, you start to feel exhausted. And you might start to wonder, why is it so hard to say no? Or why do I always end up agreeing? If this sounds familiar, this video is exactly for you. And by the end of this video, you will learn why this happened, but also how to overcome it and start saying no. You struggle to say no. It's not just about your personality, but it's actually because of the people-pleasing mindset. It's a mindset where you put others before yourself too much and end up sacrificing yourself. With this mindset, you might think like that. For instance, I'm afraid of being hated by refusing someone's favor. I'm scared to betray the expectations. If saying yes helps me avoid awkwardness, then I would rather just agree. But what happens to you if these thoughts become your normal? It will create the circumstances that make you feel stressed. Also, your time will be taken by others if you don't refuse, so you will lose your time for yourself. In addition, if you stay good one too long, then you will be just anyone. That means, for other person, you will be just a convenient person, useful person, not a valuable one. And if this situation become your norm, things only will get worse. And in fact, this mindset can lead even more serious consequences and can break your health. One example is burnout. Even when you try to do something, you always feel exhausted and begin to feel, I don't want to do anything and I don't care anymore. Burnout also makes you lose motivation and stop enjoying the hobby that you had fun before. Finally, you feel emotionally empty. Second, mild depression. Waking up in the morning, you just don't want to walk, or you just don't want to do anything. And even things you used to love no longer interest you. Number 3, falling illness because of too much stress. Chronic stress may cause headache, stomachache, and can't rest well even if you sleep. And this will make you stress and make you no appetite, or on the other hand, eating too much because of the stress. And finally, you will lose of yourself. Especially, you can't notice your needs. When people ask you, what do you want, or which do you prefer? You don't have any idea because you have been adjusting to people around you so long. And you can think about what you love and want so much. Before it reaches that point, you need to break free from this people-pleasing mindset. How can you get out of it? The solution is actually so simple. Prioritize yourself first. Even if you try so hard to support others and don't take care of yourself first, you won't be able to truly help them. In other words, you can't give what you don't have. If you have the people-pleasing mindset, you constantly put others before yourself. However, that's exactly why you need to take care of yourself. When you support others without considering your capacity, you will eventually be exhausted and completely drained. Let's say, what if you don't have enough money and but give you someone? You will suffer, right? And maybe not able to live. So in the same way, if you don't feel enough well-being, you can't give it and help them. If you really want to do it, after take care of yourself, then you can do it. People around you. Anyway, prioritize yourself first. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly should you do? Here are 3 actionable tips that I recommend. Firstly, surround yourself with people you can be honest with. It could be challenging, but it's so important to have and find the relationship where you don't have fake smile or always say yes. If someone only values you when you are convenient, that's not a real connection. Second of all, pay attention to your availability and capacity. How much can you? You shouldn't do what is over your capacity, especially for other people. If you ask yourself and the answer is no, then you should say no. But first, consider your own capacity. This is important. Lastly, only take responsibility within your limit. If you can't take full responsibility, then you should stop and refuse to do a favor. Now, you might be thinking, how can I actually say no? If you are suffering from say it, at first, you can try to say, I need time to think. You don't have to respond immediately, but you can take your time and consciously ask yourself and get ready to say it. After getting used to saying, I need time to think, you can try to say no against a favor you don't want. Don't just be a good one, but be a valuable one. At first, it may be difficult and change suddenly, but do it step by step. Taking care of yourself is not a selfish. Instead of just being nice, aim to be someone who truly valuable. Finally, let me leave some essential message that I usually pay attention and will help when you think and judge, and keep in mind. Number 1, you need to set clear boundary to decide what you will and won't do. And second, don't do something for someone if you will end up resenting it or wanting to complain. Then on the other hand, number 3, if you can accept or blame even if you did your best and feel okay, then you can do it. And lastly, if you decided to do it once, then you need to take responsibility without expecting anything in return. And what if, just for today, you chose to take care of yourself, even just a little? You will never be a convenient person. You won't be just nice. You will be able to live less stress, and naturally, the people who truly values you will treat you with respect. Prioritize yourself first, and you will see you can choose everything. Listen,